What is the best Caldari ship? What's the best one? Today, we're going to answer that question quantifiably. So if you want the best EVE guides, you came to the right place. Ladies and gentlemen, Loru here, digital advertiser, content creator, and EVE enjoyer. For the better part of 10 years now, and this is every Caldari ship. Now, we're going to be doing sub-capitals, because capitals are so niche, and I just pulled in everything blue, and just to kind of see what it is. We're going to be ranking the stuff, and here's how we're going to be ranking it, okay? S tier is you must have the ship. If you like Caldari ships, you must fly this ship. A is a great to have ship, and most people are going to be flying that ship. This is like a, you probably have it if you're doing stuff, that's it. B is going to be, you like probably have it, but it's not every single person's going to have it. C is going to be like very situational. D is like very situational, and you're probably not going to have it. And if it doesn't go to D, well, we're not even going to probably be ranking it. A D is basically like you shouldn't fly it necessarily, very situational. Okay, so every ship in EVE has a use case, has a something it can do better than others. We're going to be ranking these on is how often can you use ships? Are they used for a wide swath of things? Okay, so let's start at the top, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be using also the in-game thing here to just start at the beginning and go down this line. So let's start with the Corvettes, the Ibis. Should you use the Ibis? The Ibis, ladies and gentlemen, is a Corvette, and it's something everybody starts in. I got to tell you, though, the Ibis is one of the mid-tier Corvettes. And yes, there is a tier to the Corvettes. Since this is a Corvette, we're just going to put it into the like D thing because you should get out of this as soon as possible. The Velour is actually the best Corvette. Why? Because the Velour has the biggest drone bay. Did you know this? Did you know that there was a tier system to how the Corvettes go, the base starter ship? The Ibis has 5 drone bay. The Velour actually has 10 drones, so the Velour can fit more. So if you're trying to get into a Corvette, if you want to pick a race, the Caldari is a good race to start with, but their Corvette is actually middle of the pack. Nice starter, pretty strong compared to others, but the Velour is still the biggest one. I don't want new bros to watch this and get confused. The Corvette is something you should start in and not go from there. You should get out of it as soon as possible. So let's check out the next thing, a shuttle. The Caldari Shuttle. Yeah, we're really doing all the Caldari ships here, ladies and gentlemen, okay? The Caldari Shuttle. Here's the thing with shuttles. They're always going to be live, and you're always going to use them. What's the difference between a shuttle and a Corvette? And this is really good for the newer players coming in. Shuttles have a roll bonus that they're immune to interdiction. You cannot scram them with bubbles. Now, they can be scrammed with dedicated like warp scrambles, but they're immune to bubbles, and it makes it easier to jump with them. All right, so if we look at the ship and we see how this goes, it does go at almost a 6 AU base speed. The thing about shuttles is that they have no slots and they're made of paper. This is purely a traversal, a travel ship. It's going to be the first travel ship you actually get into. You're going to have shuttles at all times. I have shuttles now in my ship thing right here because I just end up using, I randomly get them. I randomly go for these, and these faction ones are more expensive because they look nicer. There's no real difference in between these. They're taxis. Should you use them? Yes. Are they something that you're going to have sitting in your hangar at all times? Maybe. I typically use shuttles for putting my clones around and being able to go from A to B with different clones. Okay, so that's what shuttles are for. We could put them into the C tier. Let's see the haulers, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start with Badger. We'll start with this Badger. We're going to group the Tyra and the Badger together. We're just going to call this T1 haulers, okay? What is the difference between these two? The Tyra is going to get more cargo capacity, okay? Of the T1 haulers, the Tyra has a base of 7,300 cargo capacity, and the Badger, let me simulate the ship, has a base of 3,900 cargo capacity. So the Badger has less cargo. What is the difference here? You can see that this one is easier to warp around with, okay? The Badger is going to be the faster ship to warp with, but it carries less cargo. The Tyra is going to be the slower ship to warp around with, but carries double the cargo that it can. So which one's the better one? When you're early game, you're going to be using the Tyra most of the time, okay? So let's just say T1 haulers. How often should you use these? This is going to be dependent on what game state you're in. When you're at the start of the game, they're going to be Bs. You're going to be using them a decent amount. You're going to be hauling them around. You're going to have, I do my hauling when I was new, bro. I was hauling once every couple of weeks. So you're going to have them and chill, and they're going to be something you do, but it's kind of whatever. When you are established, you're basically never going to use them. So, and I'm noticing that my D tier is now gone. So we have to get rid of these. So let's add a row below. When you're established player, you're going to be, what's going on here, Jen? Why is this doing this? Give me a, editor, you can keep his part in because, you know, these people, they're just, we want them to see how hard this is to do. And now this is named, I don't know what's happening right now, chat. Why are these being named differently? Okay, there it is. You can keep that part in editor. Once you're an established player, the T1 haulers become something you never, ever end up using. Ever. You end up using bigger, badder stuff. When you're a newer player, they're going to be around B. When you're an established player, you're going to be a D. Need to put the Ibis in the D again? You're right, I do, but I don't know where the hell the Ibis went to. So whatever, I'm just going to keep moving because, my God, it's scuffed. We keep going. We don't try about it. They fly now. So T1 haulers into the D tier after you get established. Down to that looks like the T2 haulers. These are going to be individuals. Let's go Crane and Bustard. Let's find the Bustard first. These are going to be our first Tech 2 look at. Let's talk about where the Bustard goes for this. This is the Bustard. Where should the Bustard go? The Bustard is one of the tankiest shield haulers and one of the best haulers in the game, in my opinion. Let's talk about what this is. The Bustard is a deep space transport. And as a quick aside, when you're a newer player, the best thing you can do to unlock the game is get T2 haulers. My recommendation to every new player that's playing EVE is you start the game, you play for like a month to 3 months to do combat or exploration or industry. You like pick your career path, right? And then after like 3 months, you must commit to getting Tech 2 haulers. I don't care what race, I don't care what ships, get Tech 2 haulers. They absolutely unlock the game. You eventually want to be able to have both. And which one should you get first? It probably should be the Blockade Runner, but let's talk about the Bustard here first. What the Bustard is a tanky boy. It gets shield resists, shield boosters. It's also very hard to lock down with Warp Core strength. So you have to have a +3 stab to be able to like take them out, a +3 point, excuse me, to be able to take them out. And it gets bonuses to overheating things. Difficult to lock down, difficult to kill. This is the hauler, and it can hold the most stuff. Do I have a Bustard in here right now? I do not. But if we simulate this guy, we do have a fit for this. Do I not? That must be on my other character here. So this guy has a base shield of 27k, but I can tell you that my Bustard has about 100k EHP. And because it has a fleet hanger, it can hold a crap ton of goodies. Let's come down here and let me like show you this here. The fleet hanger is right here. It holds 50k. So this Bustard, when fully upgraded, can hold like almost 70k. It's like 67k. So this is going to be your go-to. I'm going to haul a crap ton of stuff. Hauler, how should we rate this? Because it is going to be the #1 thing you use to haul items to market. How should we rate the Bustard? I think this is a solid A tier ship. You will have a Bustard or some kind of DST equivalent. You will have one. Every single person is going to have a Bustard or a DST equivalent. We're only covering Caldari ships in here, but you're going to have this. If you're a Caldari fan, you must have a Bustard. Correct. Can't BS because of what I'm about to show you. Let's find the Crane. Ladies and gentlemen, it's somewhere down here. Let's talk about the Crane. The Crane is a blockade runner. It's a different type of Tech 2 transport. The Crane can hold way less than the DST. The DST can hold like 60k, about-ish, okay? About 60k. The Crane can hold, let's say it's like 7k at the top. It's end up being like 4 to 5k. It's probably, let's say like 5k at the top. That's a big difference. Why should you fly the Crane if you can just fly the Bustard? Because the Crane is fast, and the point of hauling is to survive, and the Crane does that. The Crane has a low align time comparatively. The Crane is less cargo, but has a very fast warp speed, 75% warp speed and acceleration, and can fit, and this is the big one, a covert ops cloak. I fly my Vider, my Crane, my blockade runners way more than I fly any other hauling ships. This is the ship to get. When I tell you the #1 ship that unlocked the game for me is a Tech 2 blockade runner. It's the crane. You must have a crane if you're a fan of Caldari ships. I fly a Viator. Let me show you my Viator fit because I have my crane on the other fit. This is my high-sec Viator fit. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Sub 3 align, 39.5K EHP, 65K M3 with a covert ops cloak and an interdiction. This is a high-sec fit. This is hard to catch because of the sub 3. This is good cargo capacity and a covert ops cloak. And if I have to go into a null sec environment, I have the nullifier. That's why it's hard to catch. That's why you must have it. Let me show you my Occutor fit to kind of, and sub 4, excuse me, not sub 3. Thank you, Chad. Thank you for keeping me honest. 103K EHP. This is the DST like the Bustard. Warp Scram, +4 warp, because remember, it gets a base +2, and then this gives it another +4. We've got Heated. This behemoth goes up to 150K EHP, just in case we have an interdiction nullifier. Tough to catch. You must fly these. Fly the crane before you fly the Bustard. When you can afford both, get both. That's why this is A and S tier. The Tech 2 haulers are necessary buys. Make sure you get these. Let's go to the rest of this ship tree and see what else we get. We're not going to do capital ships because those are so situational. They're their own things. I'll tell the new players, you get a DST, you won't need a freighter for years. You won't need a freighter basically ever. And before you get a freighter, go watch our freighter guides. Capital ships are literally EVE 2.0. They're an entirely different class of ship. Go watch those guides. Okay, let's talk about the Griffin. The Griffin is an ECM electronic warfare frigate. The Griffin is an extremely niche, made of paper ship that is really difficult to fly solo. It is also one of the best ships to fly in a fleet with your buddies. This fit was given to us by one of our viewers, and we have dubbed it,
You May Not.
It targets out to 80K, is less than 1 million ISK. It's only 800,000 ISK. And if you can target it, you can, boop, you may ECM them and unlock it. For less than 1 million ISK, you can point at a ship and say,
You may not.
This is bananas. If you're a newer player and wanting to do some faction warfare with your buddies, this is a hilarious ship to fly because it's only 800,000 ISK, not 800 million, not 8 million. 800,000. You can get 10 of these and lose these constantly and laugh as your opponents are frustrated into an early grave. Not to mention the fact that it goes 2878. We'll put this fit in the description for you newer players so you can fly it. This is not a ship to fly by yourself. This is a E-War ship to fly with your buddies that you can refit and have a silly time with and keep it going. With that said, this is a situational ship. And it's a good ship, but it's situational. So we're going to put it at a high C. We're going to put it at a high C because you can use it, but can you use it? Yes, but it's heavily situational. It's not something everyone must have. It's a menace in small scale PvP for alphas. That's why we put it there. We might even put it in a low B as we keep this going. Let's see how we can keep this going. Okay, so good ship, very situational, E-War ship, high C. Let's talk about the Kestrel. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what it is. The Kestrel, one of the best starting ships to get for Caldari. Why? Because this max velocity is huge. It makes it so that your rockets shoot out and all of your ammo, not just your rockets, go out a far distance. Other ships that have rockets like the Breacher cannot shoot as far as the Kestrel can. The Kestrel, because of its bonuses, is the Rage the furthest one. Rage goes out to 12, and give me, come on here. Give me this one right here. Javelin goes out to 21. So rockets hitting out to 21 kilometers is unheard of, especially for how cheap this ship is. Rockets do the most DPS and are typically close up for your damage. Because the Kestrel has this max velocity, it doesn't really make sense to newer players. Velocity sounds like the rockets go faster, but what that actually affects on other ships that have a low velocity the missiles go out and then they stop. On the Kestrel, maximum velocity means they can go out further before they stop and like blow up. So that's what that means. The wording is a little bit odd for newer players, but that's what that stat actually means. The Kestrel can do Abyss. We have a guide on the Kestrel Abyss coming out. The Kestrel can do faction warfare. The Kestrel can do PvE. Let's look at faction warfare Kestrel, T0 Kestrel, high-sec PvE Kestrel, Day 1 Abyssal Kestrel, Tech 1 PvP. The Kestrel is one of the best ships you can fly even when you're an established player. I am going to find the Kestrel. I'm going to give the Kestrel a solid S behind the Crane, because you end up aging out of it as you get bigger into the game, but it's still an S tier ship because at all points of the game, you can play it. PvE, combat sites, faction warfare, Abyss, excellent ship, live at all times. Even if you've been playing the game for 10 years, go play a Kestrel in a T0. Your heart's gonna pump and you're gonna make, honestly, some decent ISK. It's gonna be great. Love the Kestrel. I call mine Elton. Nice. That's fun. I like that. So Kestrel, S tier ship. Definitely go check that out and see what's up. Let's see what else we can get into here. Okay. Let's see. The next one, the Bantam. The Bantam is a remote rep ship. It is very easy to kill. It has not a high EHP, 1900, and is a remote shield booster ship. Really great for range. You can be far away from stuff and absolutely keep hitting stuff because you get a bonus to remote shield booster fall off. This means you can heal people at longer ranges. Let's see how much this is going to be. 223,000 ISK for the Bantam. A decent starty ship, but I can tell you, the Bantam is going to be very similar to the Griffin in terms of where we put it. This is a capital ship because of the fact that it's so niche, it's so tiny and so easy to kill. It ends up being something that's not used very, very much. We got to keep looking for the Bantam here. It's somewhere right around here. Editor, you can keep his part in because, you know, sometimes we just got to look. Am I blind? Am I blind, chat? Am I just like, it is staring me in the face and the Bantam is somewhere else? That's not a Caldari ship either. Am I wrong? Second to the bottom row. Let's see it. Griffin, Bantam right here. Thank you, chat. Thank you. You guys are much better at this than me. I'm going to put the Bantam as a C, but I'm going to put it below the Griffin because the Bantam ends up getting hyper targeted and gets popped really early. The Griffin can do, if it gets killed, but it ECMs something for like 10 seconds, its job is done. If you're doing faction warfare with your Griffin and you distract somebody for like 10, 15 seconds, your job is done. The Bantam needs to stay alive to do its job, but because it's a healer, it gets targeted and then it gets popped and then it dies and you're like, whatever. So I'm going to put the Bantam below the Griffin. Still good for faction warfare, still a good ship, but so, you know, it's not there yet. The T2 version, you're totally right, is the better ship. People end up using the Tech 2 version a lot. The Kirin ends up being used a crap ton in a lot of things, and you can train healers in the Bantam, but because it's so light on its health, it just gets popped. We're putting it in the C tier. Very situational, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the Merlin. Let's talk about the Merlin. Not a missile ship. One of the only ships that is a gun ship, hybrid turrets for the Caldari militia. Where should we put this ship? Well, let's look at, by the way, what this does from the community tab. Oh my gosh, Air Caldari Enforcer, Soldier of Fortune, Abyssal T0s, Faction Warfare PvP, High Sec PvE. The Merlin is, and I even have, and I'll do you one better. I actually use the Merlins for travel fits. Yes, instead of a shuttle, which is made of paper, it's got less than 1,000 EHP. I use the Merlin 7,000 EHP with a 200 M3 cargo. This was one of the first ships that I actually fit for hauling. Before I got my hauler, before I got my, basic Tech 1 haulers, I was using a Merlin sub 4 line, a decent cargo for when you're brand new, and 7,000 EHP. Not bad. You can do a lot with the Merlin. It can do many, many things. This is a multifaceted ship that can be used all over the place. But where should we put it? The question is it better than a Kestrel? Is it better than a Kestrel? I'm going to give the Merlin a high A, but behind the Bustard. Remember, that's what we're putting right here, the Bustard. I know that looks like the Badger, but I can't find the Bustard. It's like, so, oh, there it is. I just found it. Let's just put both Tech 1 ships are going to be here. There's the Bustard. I'm going to put it behind this. Why S? Why not S? Because the Kestrel, if you're a Caldari fan, missiles are the way. Guns is going to be a secondary thing for you. So since this video is all about the Caldari flavor, let's put it in A because it's still a great ship. You're going to use it for a lot of things. Let's put it in A, but not above the Bustard because you're going to use the Bustard and the Crane for a lot of other stuff. Hi, honey. 07, Mrs. Lorimirth. How are you doing today? Everybody say hi, Mrs. Loru. Hi, honey. It's good to see you. Editor, you can keep that part in. I love that my wife supports the stream. It makes me very happy. So love you, honey. Thank you for being here. Oh, chat. Oh, chat. The Heron is a exploration, new bro, salvaging machine. This ship is one of the most used ship in all of EVE, and in my opinion, is the best exploration ship in the game for its cost because of the amount of mid slots is going to let you use both data and relic analyzers. In the lows, we actually have an Alpha Heron fit for you. We've featured this before. It's over on my EVE workbench. This, you can fit both relic and data analyzers, and this is a Alpha Heron for 10 million skill points. We'll put this in the description for you. Where should the Heron be? We don't have to think about it. It is high S tier, the goat, the Chad, the Heron. Up there, S tier Heron to this day. To this day, I still fly a Heron sometimes. This is a extremely effective ship. Is it better than the Tech 2 ships? No, but the cost, ladies and gentlemen. Heron, Crane, Kestrel, Bustard, Merlin, there it is. Mustard! Where's my Kung Fu Kenny fans? Bustard, everybody else? Okay, just me? The point is, Trent, don't mess with the goat, all right? That is Kendrick. This is an S tier ship. This fit will be in the description for you. Check it out. It's fantastic. Nothing else needs to be said. Now, the Condor has a bit of a different take on the Tech 1 ships. This is a PvP machine because of its propulsion jamming systems and light missile and rocket damage. This ship, the Condor, is a Mustard, exactly, is a very interesting ship because what the other ships have in, but notice there's no PvE fits for the Condor. There's no PvE fits for the Condor. The Condor is less popular because it is very hard to fit for tank. This is what we call a light tackle ship. The Condor is way more situational than these other ones and is used for less things in the game. Where would we put the Condor? It's a PvP ship. It has light missile and rocket damage and it's not exactly usable in the Abyss because it's less tanky. It has less low slots, so it's harder to fit for damage. It's meant to light tackle something. This is a light tackle PvE trainer fit ship. This ship is for going fast, holding someone down, and maybe doing damage to it. This is a cheap ship you can use to lock down somebody and is mainly used in faction warfare. I'm going to give the Condor a solid B, our first B. Remember, S is must have. A, great to have. B, you'll probably use this and maybe you could check into it. C is like very situational. You need to have a fleet comp around it. You know, that's where we're going to put it. And D is probably not going to fly it after you age out of it. So far, we have Tech 1 cruisers, Tech 1 haulers there, excuse me. Then we have our E-War ships and our Heelys, our shuttle. Then we have our like dedicated fast tackle ships. It does look, it's one of the best looking ships, okay? It's literally a fighter pilot, okay? My head canon is your pod is right here and you're like No Man's Sky fighter piloting it through. Looks sick. This is more of a situational ship. That is going to be in B tier, okay? B tier, all right. All the Tech 1 frigates are now done. Let's head into, should we do Tech 2 frigates or do destroyers? Let's go into Tech and, let's do navies next. Ladies and gentlemen, the Griffin Navy issue is next. The Griffin Navy issue is next. Do I have it here? Let's look. I'm trying to find you. Griffin Navy? I don't think so. I think there was a bunch of these down here. Ah, yes, here's the Griffin Navy. Okay. If the Griffin is a C-tier ship, the Griffin Navy is a scary ship. You see a Griffin Navy and fear sets in. This ship is horrifying. If you see it pop on grid, you are afraid, and its playstyle is different than that of a base tier Griffin. Why? Let me show you. Because of the miscellaneous bonus it gets, the Griffin Navy does way less drone damage, and it also has less drone hit points and control range. So you can control the drones closer to you. They're less tanky, and they don't do damage. What the heck do you fit with the Griffin Navy? My friends, you don't fit Griffin Navy damage drones. You fit ECM drones on these guys. Hello? You fit EC drones on the Griffin Navy, baby. You put these to the brim, fill them up to the brim with Hornet EC300s is scared we runnin'. That's right. These do not do damage. These unlock the enemy. Now, there's not a ton of these, but you fit 5 of these to unlock the enemy from stuff. And you also fit EC, and look, jam duration. If they get jammed, they're jammed for way longer. 50% bonus at Caldari Frigate 5 to jam duration is nasty, and small hybrid turret damage. Chat, this is an ECM ship that bites back. And because it has the mids, you can fit guns, rigs, gun support, shields, and ECM stuff. There it is. Are they effective? The short answer is they can be. ECM drones, let's be direct. ECM drones are a gamble. If they hit, they're unlocked for a long time. If they hit. This is a gambly ship. When it hits, it works. When it doesn't, you're still solid ship. The Griffin Navy. I'm gonna put this in a low tier. It's either gonna be high C or low B because it is still situational. The question is it better than the Condor? What do y'all think? Is it better than the Condor? Would you use the Griffin Navy more than the Condor? You know what? I'm gonna put it above the Condor because I'm just remembering our Frigate Fiasco tournament. I'm remembering our Frigate Fiasco tournament, and the Griffin Navies won that entire tournament because they just stomped everything. I'm gonna put it above the Condor because we have firsthand experience. We casted a frigate tournament, and these Griffin Navies were nasty. They won the entire tournament. So I'm gonna put them above the Condor, but below these purely from a usability standpoint. We're gonna put it in high B above a Condor for Griffin Navies. They're nasty. Try them out. See what y'all think. Griffin Navies. Here we go, chat. Here we go. The Heron Navies are weird because they're 10 times the price of a Heron. And what's the difference? They're tankier. They have the same rigs and modules set up, okay? They're tankier, and they get a bonus to rocket and missile damage. These are your first fortes into exploration hunting. The Heron Navies are really all about hunting other herons, but for the price, is it really worth it? These are combat exploration ships. They're strange. We're gonna put these into high B. I'm gonna put this above the Griffin Navy because it's still a great ship and does everything the Heron does, but because it's 10x the price. If you want to explore, you might as well just go fly a Heron. And if you want a PvP, you might as well get into a PvP ship. And no covert cloak is a big deal, Crido. You're hitting the nail on the head. The Buzzard, the Tech 2 frigate, can fly a covert ops cloak, making it the better attack ship. So we will at some point, Lag, we definitely will. So this is a good ship, but it's a high B ship. If you're gonna fly a Heron Navy and you really want to push stats, it's pretty niche, and that's why we put it into a high B because the base Heron S tier ship, for the price, you might as well fly the base Heron. If you want to do a little bit more oomph, that's the Heron Navy. That's the Heron Navy for you. This next one, a personal favorite. A personal favorite of mine, the Hookbill. Absolute chad of a ship. Delicious bonuses, light missile damage, damage bonuses to everything but kinetic, because the kinetic one does more. It does. These are just base ones. And kinetic one does a little bit more. Max velocity on missiles and rockets. The absolute Chad Bill. Look, and his nose matches mine. Don't talk to me or my son ever again, okay? You see the family resemblance, ladies and gentlemen. The Hookbill is a fantastic ship that you can do tons with. We mainly do it in the Abyss. You can do PV. It is also one of the best solo faction warfare ships you can use. This is an incredible ship to do Abyss with and an incredible ship to do PvP with. It is both a powerhouse in faction warfare and a powerhouse in the Abyss. One of our best Alpha Abyss missile guides is with the Hookbill. I'm putting this to a high A, potentially even a lower S. Is it better than a Kestrel? Yep, I'm putting it high S. It's better than the Kestrel. I'm putting it high S. High S. High S. Gotta be high S. Is it more usable than the Kestrel? Yes. Is it more usable than a Crane? No, the Crane you're gonna get a crap ton of use out of. The Hookbill is still at the tippity top. I'm calling it the GOAT, the Chad, the Hookbill. Put it to the S tier. We already did the Haulers and the Tech 2 ships there. Let's just keep going down this list and we'll go up the list a little bit later. So, all right, let's talk about the Corax. I was kind of deciding how, because there's a bunch of different ways we can slice this. This is going to be 2 videos, almost freaking guaranteed, chat. Let's talk about the Corax in the understanding of what destroyers are. Destroyers are not as tanky as cruisers, do more DPS than frigates, but are lighter and harder to kill than frigates. It's like this in between. They're basically frigate killers. The goal of the destroyer is a frigate killer, and the Corax does more damage, has more explosive radius, and has more velocity. So this is like the Tech 2 Kestrel, or sorry, this is like the next step Kestrel. You can fly your missiles, you can do stuff really good, and the Corax is going to be one of those ships you really enjoy early game because of the increase of DPS that you get. You can do the PvE missions, the Enforcer missions. You could do faction warfare. You could do an afterburner faction warfare versus a micro warp drive faction warfare. We even have a guide on how to do Abyss in the Corax. The Corax is one of those ships, if you like missiles, you're gonna fly it. You're going to do it. So let's check on our list and see where we're going to put the Corax. So we know it's not going in B. You could do a ton with this ship. Is it more flyable than a Kestrel? Can you do more with it than a Hookbill or a Kestrel? This is tough. I think it is. It might be S. It might be S. I want to kind of put it in high A because it's just fantastic, but we might put it in S above the Kestrel. I don't know. I think it's high A. Do you use it more than your DST? I think we put it in high A because it's still really good, but it's about the cost. The cost of the ship. For just the hull, you're paying 2 million. Throw it in S or A. My thing about this is S are must-have. So is the Kestrel more of a must-have than the Corax? You might put it in B because it's slow. Don't use destroyers much. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it below. I'm going to put the Bustard into S, and I'm going to swap this around a little bit. I'm going to put the Bustard into S because the Crane is better than the Bustard, but the Kestrel is definitely better than the Hookbill, and this is still correctly organized. Is the Corax more useful than the Kestrel? I think so. So I'm going to move the Kestrel down to A. The Kestrel is still good, but you're going to use the Corax for more things because the Kestrel can also be used in a bunch more faction warfare things, and you're going to kill a bunch of frigates with the Corax. I think this is the better use case. The Tech 2 Haulers must have. Hookbill must have. You know what? I am putting this to A. I'm putting this to A because the Hookbill is a tier above these two for sure. Definitely is. So this is your new A, your new S. I think this is a solid look. So editor, you're going to have a lot of edits on this video because we just got 20 gifted subs coming in. Thanks for the 20 gifted bomb. Thank you for so much for that. NSG 8-bit. And Twitch was showing I only had 1 viewer today. And it's weird to think that my 1 viewers are chatting all of this stuff while continuing to get 20 sub bombs. Thank you for that, my friend. Thanks so much for that. Yes. All right, the Corax is an A tier. Let's see the rest of these and see what else you can do with this. Let's go look at the Cormorant. Now, the Cormorant is going to be a high-sec ganking machine. We use it in faction warfare. There's a combat fit for this. We have a sniper faction warfare fit. That our faction warfare fit with spike ammo shoots out to 100. This is a destroyer that can shoot out to 100 km. Very excellent. You can use it for PvP with blasters. You can use a PvE with rails. This is a Explorer high-sec combat site fit. You can do the Sisters of Eve Epic Arc with the ship. This is one of the most popular ships to use the Sisters of Eve Epic Arc with only 4 million ISK. It's a great, solid platform, and it's a gunship. This is going to help you to do more hybrid turrets, and I can tell you that deep flow rips. Exactly. I can tell you I did a ton with the Cormorant when I was a newer player. I haven't flown it that much recently, but it is a great, fantastic ship. So where should we put it on this? The question is the Corax better than the Cormorant? I'm tempted to put the Cormorant here, but is it better than the Corax? What do y'all think? Personally, I think the Corax is the better ship because you can do more with missiles early because guns are harder to manage than missiles. Early on, guns are difficult to fly because of the transversal velocity and all this other things coming in. But if you're doing later in the game, the Cormorant becomes the go-to ship. I think they're pretty equal. I think the Corax is better personally because you don't have to worry about the tracking. I'm going to put the Corax to A tier and call it a day there. And the Cormorant is going to be slightly below it, but still better than these two ships. Is the Cormorant better than these two? I'm going to put the Cormorant better than the Merlin. These are the gunships, but the Kestrel I still think is better than this because you can still use it for Abyss and you don't have to worry about the tracking so much. So right, the Corax is fire and forget, just keep orbiting. Yes, yes. And the Cormorant's uses last longer. I agree, past beginner. Let's put the Cormorant a little bit down here and keep it, because remember, B is like, you're probably going to use them, but they're kind of situational. C is very situational. This is you're definitely going to use them. This is your must-haves. Cormorant navies are basically the next, they're tankier, they hit harder, and they shoot further. They are bigger Cormorants, and they do nasty things. You can see here, we've got a PvP dual, look at this disgusting fit with dual medium ancil boosters. This guy is going to be a titan on the faction warfare field. You see, now there's a reason why PvP, PvP, PvE. This is another high-sec combat site finder, but for 40 million ISK, I think you can do better. And for PvP, this is a 40 million ISK ship that's made of paper. You can find cruisers for that kind of thing. Shield booster bonus, right, shield booster bonus. So that's why the Cormorant Navy is strange, because it's not tanky enough to really do what it needs to do necessarily, but it's still better, strictly speaking, than the Cormorants. It kind of fits. The Navy ships are these in-between ships, where the Cormorant Navy is the Cormorant, but you might as well just buy a Cormorant because of how the meta in EVE works. Because while I try to find the ship in Editor, you can keep this in. The meta in EVE is like this. You want to find the minimum viable product to do your activity, okay? You want to find why fly a Cormorant Navy when you can just fly a Cormorant? The Cormorant Navy, you can kill stuff better, sure. You can survive stuff better, but it's like 4x the price. So how many of those can you really fly? How many of those can you really keep going when you can just do a Cormorant, which is like much cheaper, much more affordable, call it a day? I cannot find the Cormorant Navy yet. I don't know where it is. I am blind. I'm looking for blue backgrounds. I'm going to put the Flycatcher here, even though it is a Cormorant Navy. Let's put the Cormorant Navy with the rest of these. Which one is better? Is the Cormorant Navy, I'm going to put it in B. Is the Cormorant Navy better than the Heron Navy? I'm going to say yes, because this is like super niche comparatively. This is more niche, but still better. And I'm going to put the Condor. No, I think the Condor still goes there. I think it has to go like this. because you could still use the Cormorant Navy for a lot of good stuff, more than you can use it for the Heron Navy and more than you can use it for the Griffin Navy. These are still good ships, but not as useful as the Cormorant Navy, okay? Let's keep going down this non-Tech 2 route. I think that's what we're going towards. Ladies and gentlemen, we've arrived. We've arrived at the Caracal. Caracal, my love. What an interesting ship. The pointy lad. So interesting, so intriguing. You can do, again, a lot with the Caracal. PvP, PvE, Abyss. You can use it in nullsec. Once we start getting into cruisers, you start getting into a point where you can basically use it to do anything and everywhere. Caracal Sigma-based ship, absolutely one of the best ships in EVE. You can use high-sec PvE, PvP Caracal, T1 Abyssal Caracal. We have a video on the Caracal as well on how to make ISK in only a 30 million ISK ship. A great, great ship. This is live at endgame. You get a bunch of Caracals into a fleet. They're in Pochvin. They're in nullsec. They're in wormhole space. They're everywhere. Clapping while I'm talking. This is one of the best ships you can get and one of the most used ships you can get. Where should we put it, y'all? Where should we put it? Is this an S tier ship? Are you going to use the Caracal more than these ships? I'm going to give this a very high A. Because you're going to use it, I'm going to give this a high A, above the Corax. I don't think it's S tier, because it's great, but do you have to have it? If your fleet comp is some Caracals, sure. I think it's highest A I can give it without being mandatory buys, right? Without being mandatory buys. Very interesting, very interesting. Okay, let's give it the A tier. I think that's a good idea. And it's got the missiles, it's got the drones. Let's keep it at the A tier and keep this going, okay? Let's talk about the Moa. The Moa. So it continues this dual Caldari gun type, where you have the missile drone ships that are primarily missiles, drones secondary. And then you have the ships like the Moa that are, you can't take the sky from me. Okay, let's just be clear where the, come on now. This is an easy Firefly reference, right? Then you have the gunships that are hybrid turret ships. I like the Moa. It's a very solid ship. It ends up getting flown a little bit less than the Caracal, but still an incredible ship. It's one of our favorite ships to go rob the ESS in. PvP, PvE Sniper Moa. This is a standard. Check out this Moa. It's a cruiser. Fall off 33? No, where's the one? 45 antimatter? We need spike ammo on this. The Iridium goes, this is, I have to fix this fit because we're using Tech 1 guns. That's why I should be using Tech 2s. This is a great platform for long range rail gun focused things. Dude, that's awesome, Digital Vibe. Sheesh. This is really good. It used to be a lot better. It was nerfed into the ground that because it was so used, it was everywhere because the Moa was just so solid of a platform. Still very solid, but not super used still. Let's put it where? Is it more used than these ships in the A tier? I'm going to give the Moa a solid, I'm going to put it like above, and I'm already seeing a pattern. Am I putting the Moa above the Cormorant? I see that we're preferring the missile ships literally in order of how they come out. And we're also doing the same for the gunship. So just for intellectual fluidity, I think this makes the most sense. That like you want to use the missile ships first, but then maybe we should put this into B though. I kind of think that it should be below this because the Merlin, great ship, the Cormorant, great ship. But when I'm thinking about what I use the Moa for, I use the Moa and I think it's more live for is the Moa live in more activities than the Cormorant and the Merlin? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So let's leave it like this. Solid A tier ship, the Moa, coming in, killing it. Let's check it out. Here it is, the Osprey. The Osprey. This is one of the best heal ships in the game you can do for the price. Not only does it remote shield boost, but it also has cap transferring. This is a big deal. You can cap chain Ospreys and never run out of cap. One of the better ships to use. Let's find it. Let's see. These are Bassy. It looks like that. This looks like AT ships or something. Osprey should be down here. Maybe it's down here. There it is. Okay. So where should we put the Osprey? I'm going to tell you that this is an A tier ship and you should fly it and be able to logi for your people. The question is it more live than these ships? I think so. Is it more live than these ships? I don't think so. These are harder to do Abyss in. You can, but they're harder. These you could do Abyss in, PvP, PvE. These are like, it might even be a high B just because it's like a Healy ship and it's more situational. But I'm telling you, I think everybody under the sound of my voice should be able to Logi at least a little bit, and the Osprey is the ship that you can do it in. It's because it can cap transfer and shield transfer. I think you should do it above these ships. Let's put it into a high A and make sure this is a ship that you do fly, that you check out and get into. The Osprey, ladies and gentlemen, definitely check it out and definitely fly the Osprey, okay? So the Blackbird. The Blackbird is such a great ship. It's so silly. The Blackbird is a dedicated ECM platform. We've flown the Blackbird in our Frye fleets in the past, and it just gets real silly real fast. The Blackbird is a decently difficult to ship to kill for the price, 7,000 EHP, and it's basically closer to paper than it is to tanky, but it's still funny. If you can target them out to 160, you can unlock them. If they're within your targeting range, you can unlock them. And you just go at transversal in an opposite direction, and they can't do anything about it, baby. They just, hey, that ship, this is an anti-sniper ship. If they're in a bunch of snipey ships, you point to them and go,
Hey, I see you're locking onto my fleet and trying to do damage to them, and now you can't.
It's just amazing stuff. This is what we do in our Frye fleet. This is still a very situational ship, but ECM is very strong in the meta right now and has been for years, unlocking stuff. Where should we put this? Is this better than the Cormorant Navy? I'm going to give this a mid-tier B. I'm going to put it above the Griffin Navy, but below, I think it's above the Heron Navy, because the Heron Navy is such an odd, specific thing. Baby recon ship, nasty goblin. Yeah, I'm going to put it to high B, but I think the Cormorant Navy is still better for what it does in the amount of PvP and PvE it does, because you still need a fleet to have this work. This one is just so weird. This one you need a fleet. This one you need a fleet. I think this is high B for the Blackbird, because if you want to do E-War, if you want to do like pacifist run where you're like, I'm not damaging them, I'm just blinding them profusely. That's the Blackbird for you. So high B, let's start there. Keep that going. The Caracal Navy is a special ship because it's a really good in-between ship for those of you that want to fly the Gila. It ends up being fit about half as much as the Gila. And actually, as of today, literally today, we just put out a Caracal Navy video for a Alpha Abyss series for the Caracal Navy, and it's half as much as the Gila, and you can go do T2s darks with ease with the Caracal Navy. This is really good. You have right, we do 700 damage almost. Heated, we're looking at with the Caracal Navy, almost 800 damage. This is our Abyss fit that you can take into T2s. Maybe T3s, but you can do T2s pretty safe with the ship, and it's only 253 million-esque. So these Navy ships, you got to think about like Tech 1 ships. Tech 1 ships are like, you should tech up like this. You should start here, then go to Tech 2s, then go to battle cruisers. Sorry, then go to navies, then go to battle cruisers, then go to navies, then go to battleships. You shouldn't go just direction, okay? Because it's a step up. You can do that, but my personal opinion is that's why you have these in-between ships. So you can kind of go laterally instead of straight horizontal, straight vertically, whatever it is, towards the next ship. That's what these are for. So the Caracal Navy, really excellent ship, gets just straight missile bonuses, all gas, no brake on missiles, and still has drones, decent drone bay to be able to get stuff done. Where do we put the Caracal Navy on this list? Now, the Caracal is an A-tier ship, but if we're going about how often should you do this, I think it's a solid A as well. Is it better than an Osprey? I'm going to put it above these gunships. For the price, you're still getting more out of these ships, I think. But I'm going to put it above the Kestrel, because I think the base Caracal is the more used ship. It's the better ship. It's not better than the Caracal Navy in terms of stats, but it's more used. That's how we're doing this, right? And the Corax, is the Corax more used than the Caracal Navy? That's tough. That's real tough, y'all. I think this is the way we do it. Caracal Navy is below the Caracal because this is like, you will use these ships. They're the better ships because it's expensive. The base hull is 60 million-esque. The base hull of the Caracal, what's strip is fitting? Base hull of the Caracal is 20 million. So it's 3x the price for essentially the same activity. That's why I'm going to put it below it slightly. So Caracal Navy is better than the Caracal in terms of specs, right? It's cheaper and more accessible. And there, accessible is the word that we're going for. That might be in the YouTube title, for God's sake, Credo. Credo, I'm going to gift you a sub because that's perfect way to talk with. I'm literally gifting, editor, you can keep us in. I'm literally gifting a sub to you live, Credo, because you actually help us to find the name for this YouTube video, the most accessible Caldari ships coming in. I'm just going to give you a sub right now, Credo. Thanks for helping us. That's amazing stuff. Welcome in, Credo. It's good to have you. So Caracal Navy, high A, but unless you're pushing stats, the Caracal is strictly speaking more used. Caracal Navy, Osprey Navy, my love. If the Osprey is a Healy ship, the Osprey Navy says,
heal you? Why heal when I can just kill my enemy? If I kill my enemy, thanks, use my code. That's a big one. Why heal my friends when I can just kill my enemies faster?
That's the Osprey Navy. No heals here. Straight DPS. Bonus to ham velocity. Shoot them out farther. Bonus to kinetic. All types. Bonus to also the other missile types. The ONI heals with hate. I love that Sinclair. That's really good. The ONI is a great ship. Just like the Caracal Navy, though, suffers from this, like, it costs too much thing. What's better, the Caracal Navy or the Osprey Navy? Now, the Osprey Navy is worth 60 million-esque. The Caracal Navy is about the same. The difference is this. The Caracal, it's in the stats. The Caracal Navy is rate of fire and velocity only. So the Caracal Navy has a lot more upfront DPS, and the DPS is higher on the Caracal, but because there's a rate of fire, that has some other drawbacks. You have to reload more often, etc. The Osprey Navy is going to let you, let me get the stuff down here. That's not the right one. The Osprey Navy is going to have, you can shoot out further with heavy assault missiles. The Osprey Navy is a really good primer for how battle cruisers feel. The Caracal Navy is a very fast attacking cruiser. That's the difference. It's in how they feel. It's in how they play. So Osprey Navy, still a great ship, but we'll see you soon, Credo. Exactly. I think the Osprey Navy personally is a little bit worse personally than the Caracal Navy. Why? And maybe I'll change my tune on this. I'm going to have to test the Osprey Navy in the Abyss because I haven't done that yet, so I'm not sure how it flies. So what do y'all think, Chan? Is the Osprey Navy, I think they're right there. They're basically both high A ships. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Is this, I'm going to put the Osprey Navy slightly below the Caracal Navy because I haven't flown it recently and I have to still test it. I'm not sure. Do y'all think the Osprey Navy should be below or above the Caracal Navy? What do you think? So I like the ONI, but you're right. The ONI kind of prepares you for a battle cruiser. Alexa, cancel. Hey, Google, cancel. I don't know who is talking to me. God's sake, one of my smart homes just went off. I think it's got to be here. We're gonna see about that too. We're definitely gonna see about it. So I think the Osprey Navy should go here. Sounds like most of y'all agree. We'll have to see about it. So great for QRF. True. I just think it's got to be here. I think it's got to be here. So let's just keep it there for now. Let's see if we can keep moving. Maybe I'll change this when we do our next tier list. Let's call it a day. Now this video is already pretty long, and I think we've got a good base for this. We've started with Tech 1 cruisers, destroyers, and frigates. The next time, we're going to keep this list. And the next time we do this, we're going to incorporate battle cruisers, battleships. We're going to keep going into Tech 2 ships as well. This is a part 1 of our series, what is the best ships in New Eden? So if you want that playlist, it's right here. We're going to do Mimitar, we're going to do Galente, we're going to do all the different factions, okay? And if you want that playlist, it's right here. And if you want to sub for the best Eve guides, that's right here. We'll see you in the next video, y'all. Thanks very, very much.